And of course, the evolutionary intention of the human underworld was the development of human beings with bilateral brains. Now, in the fruition phase, the seventh day of that underworld, we also, humans, started forming into tribes and started developing tools. And the following underworld, the fifth underworld, is the regional underworld, and that was the development of spoken language. And that's quite a leap to go from human beings that don't have any way to communicate to developing spoken language. And obviously, as we know, humans develop all different languages all around the world. So that was quite a profound breakthrough. Now, the national underworld is the sixth underworld, and that was the advent of higher civilizations. And that's really the beginning of human history, modern human history as we know it. That was when Egypt united and became a dynasty, when the pyramids were built, when Stonehenge was built, when all these sort of marvels were created on planet Earth. Written language, the arts, science. We went from a fairly primitive state to a very advanced state very quickly at the advent of the national underworld.
What about, I hate to interrupt you here, but now I'm really curious. What about Atlantis? Does that fit into anywhere in here?
It does. Atlantis fits into the regional underworld, which began 102 million years ago. And Barbara Hand Clow, my favorite astrologer, she has an interesting theory about all of that, that when Atlantis and some of those civilizations developed catastrophobia, which is a very fear-based way of living, and it's been a big part of our challenge from that point forward, that we respond to challenges in a catastrophic kind of way, especially, when things start going wrong on our planet.
Yeah, it seems like when we're most motivated individually in our lives, also in a global way, is when things are going really, really bad, we kind of figure out what we want instead of that. What comes after national?
Well, we have the planetary underworld, and the planetary underworld began in 1756, and it was the advent of democracy and nations. And it was the end of monarchies and that old kind of rule. And then the big development of the planetary underworld was industrialization, which we saw in the 20th century change the world very, very, very quickly. And so after the planetary underworld, we get to where we are today, the galactic underworld. It's the eighth underworld, and it began in January of 1999. And there's two parts to the galactic underworld that are in development, and that's the internet and our own intuition and telepathy. And so the internet is an example of technological intuition, because now we can Google anything, ask any question, and get an answer. And that's what's also developing in us, in our right brains, is the capacity to ask any question and to get an answer. And this will all come to fruition beginning November 3rd of this year, 2010, when the seventh day of the galactic underworld begins. And that's a big part of the ninth and final underworld, the universal underworld, because it's about uniting with yourself and getting solid and whole, complete within yourself, so you can be one with everyone else. Like I've said before, one with the planet, one with the galaxy, one with the universe. And the fascinating thing about the universal underworld is it's only 234 days, where the galactic underworld, which we're in now, is 12.8 years. The planetary was 250 years. The national was 5,125 years. And on and on and on. Each underworld is 1/20th the size of the previous underworld. Oh, wow. So it really feels like time is accelerating, because we're moving through the same amount of evolutionary material in 1/20th of the time. So in the cellular underworld, it's taken 16.4 billion years to realize fully the evolutionary intention of that underworld. And this final underworld, the universal underworld, we're going to be moving through that same amount of evolutionary material that took 16.4 billion years and 234 days.
So when people say it feels like time's really speeding up, they're pretty right on about that, aren't they?
Well, it sure feels that way. Of course, mechanical time is still 60 seconds to a minute, 60 minutes to an hour, 24 hours to a day, but we're being asked to move through so much more vibrational material that it really seems like time is accelerating at a very high pace. And you know, we've already experienced that when we went from the planetary underworld to the galactic underworld in 1999, things speeding up times 20, and now we're going to do another times 20 speed up March 8th, 2011, when the universal underworld kicks in.
I know I've been waiting for this for about 20 million years, for lifetimes. It feels like I keep coming back, waiting for the end of this calendar, and here I am, perfect time, perfect place.
Well, the thing that so captured me about the calendar is somehow it hit that intuitive place in me where I feel exactly the same way. This is what I came to experience.
Right.
And I feel like, finally, we're here. I've waited 58 years and like you said, who knows how many millions of years previously.
You know, I'm curious about something. You're talking about these different underworlds in there, you know, one all the way up to 9. It seems like, and I make this up, so true or false, it seems like they would be synergistic. So we're not letting one underworld go. It's sort of merging into the next one. So we get to take all that information with us, keeps building and building and building. And now when we have this oneness, we have all of that from cellular to mammalian to all of that included in our evolution. Is that true?
Yes, Mitch, that's a wonderful point. And this synergistic part of the calendar is what makes it so powerful, because we keep building one on top of the other, on top of the other, on top of the other. And you know, didn't even go into much about the 13 heavens that each one of the underworlds break down into. At the advent of each day and night, there's a new energy emanation from the cosmic world tree. So none of these emanations, these vibrational emanations, stop. They just keep adding more, 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 more. So the completion of the calendar, really, we're going to be finally playing with a full deck. All the energy is finally going to be being vibrated our way. So we have all the cards in the deck instead of most of them. And, you know, that's one of the things that makes me so excited and so hopeful about this theory, is that we need vibrational help. Obviously, humans are pretty stuck in duality consciousness right now, and we could use a boost from the Creator to, you know, help us get through these very trying times. And, you know, our job in all of that is not to resist the changes that we all need to be making on a personal level, on a local level, state level, national level, you know, global level. And so these vibrations are going to support us to do that.
So we've got help.
And we always have, as most of us have always recognized. But there's been some pretty key vibrations that are still missing that will help us to make this leap. And one of the great things about the Mayan calendar is it actually brings together the two theories of creationism and Darwinism. And so the theory of evolution and creationism they merge, they get unified and become something much bigger than either one of them can tell on their own.